this really quick, and then we'll shift into today's trade. Okay, sorry about that. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to last Engineering the Markets for the week. Welcome to new month of trade. Happy Thursday in general. And as always, my name is Jared. It is December 1st, 2022, and we had some pretty interesting trade activity yesterday to end the month. Obviously, we closed at the highs for the month, so a lot of our monthly candles indicate lots of continuation. There certainly was a subsequent rally into the close that probably surprised a lot of people given the speed of the initial move. So lots of bullish behavior as people were kind of closing out. Obviously, the range broke out that we've been discussing, and that is fuel to allow for this to carry forward. You want to be thinking about how long we've spent in that trading range for about 2.5 weeks, and the subsequent release of that energy. So all in all, great trading session. But as far as the SPX is concerned, we were looking at the lower bounds of our expected move. Remember yesterday, I talked about how anytime you have the market testing expected move boundaries early in the week, usually that's an indication of higher volatility to come. Not always the direction is clear, and obviously things were looking a little bit more bearish into maybe a breach to the downside. But as we got our catalyst yesterday and we saw the volume accelerate, we knew that we were looking at something a little bit different, and we tried to play that continuation as long as it lasted. So, congrats to those who were able to kind of take advantage of that. I would also argue, if you're looking just at some of the weekly close prices, there's kind of this evidence that usually pullbacks and setups tend to form at key levels. Not saying that this was an absolute price to focus on, but oftentimes I will see things like daily ranges offering pullback opportunity, basically to get into, as one of our members is mentioning, kind of like a 5-wave impulsive wave, breaking out, first pullback, that's your 1, 2. You're looking for the 3-wave, which is going to be your strongest and usually your most impulsive. There often aren't many counter trend opportunities on the 3rd wave. 4th wave is going to be the second pullback on the trend. Usually you can still get engaged here, but you have to be looking for that setup to be well defined, because it's going to be higher than your wave 1. And finally, 5th wave, which should be the end of the trend. Not to say that this is over as far as this breakout is concerned, but as far as yesterday's trade, that was kind of the key setup from an Elliott perspective. So at this point in time, what do we do with this market? We're in a new month. We've got this breadth of breakout kind of staring at us from yesterday, and we're looking at new prices. So as we shift into the SPY, what was previously a very clear high and low trading range, if you were paying any engineering the market attention there'd obviously be our highs and lows from 395 to 393.50, kind of your breach levels, the 400 plus, and then the 403 double top failed expansions. Those were the levels. There were the prices where you could get engaged with trades. As a bull, you'd probably want to try and be buying near that demand zone. As a bear, obviously trying to short near failed breakouts and try and play back inside. But obviously, the context is that we had never really lost our daily uptrend. We were trading sideways for a period of time, and a lot of more directional traders can get a little frustrated because markets that trade sideways are often built to trade sideways for extended periods of time. You actually want to play the back and forth as long as it lasts. And then, of course, look for a reason to be bullish or bearish outside. So what do we do with these new prices? And, as we kind of zoom out, what is in front of us? What is some things to be concerned about? And obviously, what should we do today, especially if the market offers an opportunity? First things first, we have reached probably the highest boundary of our trading channel on this rally. This is a very clear and obvious trading channel that's been intact pretty much since all-time highs. And we got our first rally out back in late March. We knew that it connected quite well once we had our third connection out in August. And that, of course, has been kind of facilitated by a 200 period moving average, which has started to slope down as this channel was forming. And most of our high to low trade has been centered around this trading channel. Essentially, shorts are trying to look for trend changes as we get to these upper bounds. Longs who are catching new fear lows or buying into maybe some breakout strength, they're trying their best to play towards the upper bounds and essentially not really looking for much more in the fear that this starts to turn back against them. It is a bearish channel after all, so the idea is that eventually this could lead to further downside. The question remains, should we be shorting this upper channel? Should we be super aggressive in the face of what we saw yesterday? And then finally, what happens if this channel does break? Essentially, every time we get to these upper bounds, there is this attempt to maybe get through, to change the structure. And what a lot of market participants are looking for is that to actually go into a new weekly uptrend. Not necessarily by price. You could argue that this was a higher low and a continuation in the weekly. What I'm more referring to is to break our pivot, the most recent lower high inside of a weekly structure. So there is this attempt here, and we are looking at the potential for continuation as we enter into December. For short-term trade, I would argue be a little careful. We are skirting this upper bound. It is not necessarily a price per se, but I would argue that trade can get a little bit uncharacteristic up here. We might see some deviation from regular volatility today, especially since yesterday volatility did expand to the upside. Secondly, I would be looking for a lot of oversold play. If the market does pull back, there is this potential that oversold conditions on short time frames will offer things like hourly higher lows. A lot of traders will usually refer to this as bulls stepping into new trend breakouts. And while they're not part of this trend, they're looking for essentially a higher time frame setup. You'll notice this morning we have pulled back slightly, but I would argue it wasn't necessarily that type of dip that's really well defined. Usually you want to see more of a fear-based dip into something as extreme as our previous trading range. So for example, if we were to pull back to about 403.50 and see some sort of bullish setup, that could easily mark an hourly higher low for this trend to continue. So those are some setups I'd be looking for, but if it doesn't occur, just remember that bears are now on defense. They're the ones looking for the pivot. And as a bull, that's great because you want the opposite party to be struggling to find their risk. Essentially, if you have uptrends and downtrends, the posture of each participant is different. A bull, for example, in certain uptrends is simply trying to find when the trend ends or any reason to be taking profit. A bear is trying to defend levels and essentially trying to stay on guard for new expansion, especially when you have volatility staring them in the face. So the strategy here is that you can be a bear in an uptrend, especially impulsive ones. You just have to be willing to take profit at the right zones. Usually you can't be looking for complete reversion style trades initially, and usually those setups will take a lot more time as opposed to the actual trend continuation, which is mostly about finding your pullback, defining risk based on extension targets, and then allowing the trade to form through new highs. And if of course, if it doesn't work, that's when you start to take profit if the trend starts to deviate. So I'd be looking for some of that characteristic both in the SPY and pretty much on any stock that was characteristically rallying on yesterday's trade. You know, stocks like Tesla, that falling wedge is starting to play out a little bit more bullish. Bears are once again trying to find their ground. They're trying to find the level to play. And usually what starts to happen is every pivot becomes an opportunity to maybe take profit as a bull, or to maybe have some sort of pullback or opportunistic fade trade back to the downside. Even stocks that were looking a bit, I would say, threatened yesterday have come back in favor. To more specifically for stocks like Apple, probably the price that most market participants want, which is 150. But these are just characteristics of these particular names. And for the most part, this was a correlated rally yesterday. It was pretty much an all-out rally across the market. So whether you're looking NASDAQ or even the IWM, which technically the NASDAQ was the leader yesterday. So the quote unquote laggard sectors, the ones that have underperformed this year, had some of the more bullish performance. They rallied harder. And this is very characteristic of like risk on behavior. When you see laggards lead whatever, you know, trend or rally is staring in front of you, that's usually very risk on behavior. You could also quantify that with other elements of the market that might have rallied. If I can get my chart, you know, something like a corporate debt kind of breakout, HYG, you know, getting outside of a choppy trading range, dollar weakness continuing, and just, you know, the characteristic risk on, risk off signals. Volatility did get crushed a little bit lower, albeit we are looking for that to maybe inflect sometime soon. And, you know, whether you look at VIX or vol futures, these are all just things that confirm the rally is probably going to have some continuation for a period until we see a change in these readings. So, yeah, and then I was going to look at the SPY here. The one thing that's interesting about yesterday is the sectors that underperformed on the day, and this is often how correlation can kind of hide a little bit of sneaky positioning. And it's a little bit of a trick sometimes because it starts slow. And then usually when levels get broken, you realize that there was a change occurring. Most of the market yesterday was in line or outperformed the index. So for example, if we just look at yesterday, most indices were up 2, 3, and of course the NASDAQ up 4.5%, which is insane. Technology, communication, these led the NASDAQ. These guys facilitated the SPY. They kept everything structurally bullish. There was some laggard performance, but it's hidden inside of a correlated market, and it's energy. I'm not saying that this is the beginning of a rollover here, but as I've mentioned before, there's a huge divergence between something like crude future pricing, the fact that demand is starting to slow, albeit there might be some catalyst across things like other countries that can change that perspective. But the divergence is more between energy stocks and crude. And we're really looking to see if that ever starts to come back in. It's more of a trade idea for the next couple of months. Ideally starting to find maybe a trend change in energy stocks and seeing if that starts to bridge the gap. A lot of people will often refer to this as like a pairs trade, or trying to find divergence when something is supposed to be correlated or somehow in line with one or another. They usually play like short energy, long crude to try and bridge that gap. A little bit of a dual-parted trade. So, as far as what stocks to be focused on, there was a laggard performance, and this is something that was counter what we talked about the previous session. It's just showing that the market wanted to be risk on yesterday. And that's where, if you see that trend or that strength, oftentimes you can jump to the indices, you can just trade, SPY, QQQ type products. You can jump to relatively strong sectors, but you have to know which ones they're buying stronger. And then you want to avoid laggards on that session. If you were just playing the strength yesterday and trying to be trend minded, energy was probably not the best bet. And it's obvious now, but it's more important to notice it in the moment. Why would I jump to an energy stock when the market is breaking out and energy is just barely recovering off its lows? That's kind of the mindset of a day trader. I'd rather be in a strong sector like this, something that actually has breakout and trend potential to continue and to be a little bit more impulsive. So wanted to show that deviation. It happens in sessions. You can sometimes just see it on the day. Sometimes it happens over daily trends. If there ever is like a daily downtrend versus daily uptrending sectors, those are often massive divergences. And we talked a little bit about that yesterday. It can also happen over cycles, especially as we have these longer term trading channels and these bigger waves of buying and selling. Those are often characteristic of a cycle continuing or diverging, over the course of multiple months. Most of our high to low trade is about a 3-month cycle in the SPY this year. I would say pretty much we've had 3 to 4 cycles of this channel, and we have had some lower high peaks so far. So it is Thursday. I want to leave a little bit of time for questions, but I also think it's a new month. And while we can look at stocks or maybe some new interesting setups in different sectors, it's a month to see what the market is posturing into. Usually the first day of the month, I'm a little bit more market review as opposed to market trader. I like to see where things are headed, and are they going to continue a setup that in this case we've actually gotten the day before. You know, if tech is a leader yesterday, is it going to be consolidative today? Is it going to pull back harder than others if we do have a pullback? Is it going to continue? Are they that confident in the strength from yesterday? And are they going to keep pushing the issue? So these would be things I'd be looking for. They're all trade setups and they're all opportunistic, but I also want to see where to focus because if laggards become leaders, that offers massive low to high opportunity, and it allows you to be at prices that longer term might be more opportunistic. You can carry positions at essentially bargain, quote unquote, prices, and hopefully have the market participate as they start to rotate in to these sectors. So let's see. Start off with the chat. SPY ripping through the 200 MA yesterday, but it was a huge rejection last time. What do you make of that? I make of it that we need to be cautious, assuming just because we rejected here before that it's going to happen again. I think a lot of shorts were basically bundled up in this area. They had probably a similar assumption that the market had rallied a significant amount off of its low. You know, percentage wise, this is 19% last time, just low to high. Percentage wise, this is prior to yesterday's rally, about 15%. So, you know, people who are looking for similar performance and similar setups, sometimes they're a little early, sometimes they're wrong. And usually when you get a market that's trading sideways, there's perspective being thrown into that price. So a lot of people want to be short. A lot of people maybe are just holding long or adding to that energy long. One side will win. It's always going to happen. You know, breakouts happen. When that happens, shorts either get out or hedge, you know, basically have a way to protect themselves against the opposite trade. And then bulls step up, or in this case might just be riding the momentum if they're already in the market. So be extremely careful assuming just because there's a line or a moving average on your chart that it has to respond the same. We were thinking it could respond the same, but the trend never changed. And that's where, you know, people kind of get trapped over time. So just happens. It's how the market works. People think one thing, they have reasons to think one thing, they're either right or wrong. Could you look at Tesla? Sure. Tesla is in a price-based daily uptrend. So we have a low, a rally, a higher low that's been defended, and we now have a higher high. Is it still corrective against the weekly downtrend? Yes. But what's going on the weekly is we have a weekly bounce. It's a falling wedge into a weekly bounce. Those are very powerful. They can often recover significant portions of the downside, especially trying to be short at the wrong price is often very challenging. And I would start to look at fibs just to get a sense of how far they can take it. One of the best things for bounces is, you know, if there's enough juice in the price range, I would often just target previous breakdown levels or previous pivots on the trend. And you just play towards those levels as long as the market agrees. So Tesla's in a weekly bounce. It's in a weekly downtrend, but it's pulling back. So I don't want to be short against the bounce. I want to be short once the bounce ends or shows me a new pivot. So that's Tesla. I would probably stick with the long bias for as long as it lasts and then try and see if they reject hard off of key prices. But we're not at a key price, in my opinion. We're at basically like the previous pivot on the trend, which is right here. You'll notice that the highs from yesterday hit the highs of this range, and this was an attempt to go higher that failed. I wouldn't mark this high. I'd mark the highest high before this rejection. And that's pretty much where we are. 196.52, I believe was the price. 196.52. Yep, so they've hit that target already. What are some ways to structure a bullish bet on the SPY via options? So without going too much into it, call verticals. You can play back ratios. If you're bullish, a back ratio is about being bullish to a particular price. And usually you can try and sell against the price once you get there. Or I'm sorry, sell against the price because you think that's where the market's going, but it's not going to go much farther. So for example, if you were in this range, you could have been selling this trend line to play towards that level. Most of the time, I would say if you're strictly bullish, go with the simple. You kind of want to be like a debit buyer and just kind of sell a little bit against it, maybe further out in time. Because the reason is if you're bullish, you want a little bit of, you want a little bit of the potential for momentum to be part of the trade. You know, the speed aspect is important. Verticals are more about maybe like there's a specific target, but a call or a back ratio has that unlimited potential. And when you get a lot of speed, those are usually much better. So if you see the speed, or if you're preparing for the speed, get into those trades or have those trades ready and then initiate them once the speed starts. Yesterday would have been a clear example of that. Do you think the PCE numbers will be a major market mover today? Don't know. Possibly, but yesterday's discussion from Jerome Powell covered kind of what their thoughts are already. So I think that's the kind of idea. We're going to see. So SPY, we look at SPY a lot more trades, so I think I'm going to skip that one because we've talked through it. Coin. This feels like a laggard. It's making lows as of past couple of weeks. I'm not trying to scout a bottom here unless the market really shows it. You can try to scout this capitulation low, but oftentimes these are going to fade eventually, and they'll go into a state of like low interest down here, and then eventually they'll start to settle back into a bullish stance. Capitulation doesn't mark bottoms like the bottom, it marks a range bottom. And I don't want to be scouting it right now in a market that's more bullish other assets. So as a bull, I'm not as interested. As a bear, I might be shorting the next pullback. It's just a laggard stock right now. And crypto doesn't really have the reason to be bullish yet, even though risk on became in favor yesterday. You know, there's bounces, but this doesn't look great. You know, it's not the same outperformance. And I think I only have a couple of seconds left. So pin, look at pin. It's getting over the 200. It's kind of interesting. I would just play towards these trends. Like don't try and overcomplicate it too much. Is that trend line holding? For the most part, yes. Initiating trade here is often high, good risk to reward. If it works, we'll make a new high. If not, then it'll put a lower high here and compress. This one's run a good bit since earnings. I would expect compression. So, you know, it's bouncing now. It'll probably stall in the future a little bit, you know, somewhere between this range. All right. We should be getting data at this moment, so I'm going to shift over to Carlos and Norm. Thank you for participating. Thanks for everything. Have a great trading week. We'll talk more next week. And as always, like and subscribe if you love the content. We'll see you then.
All right. Good morning, friends. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Let's give Jared a big shout out, thumbs up for engineering the markets every Monday through Thursday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. I see we got the SPY doing a couple of things here. Let's zoom into
Yeah,
that.
we just had data drop. The anticipated inflation data, PCE, came out a little bit lighter than expected, which is a good thing. As far as trying to get a pivot from the for inflation coming down and pivot from the Fed, which we heard a lot about from Jerome Powell yesterday, obviously. So, see if we can continue the rally going that we started yesterday. We've got a ton of other data today with. We had initial and continuing jobless claims. Frankly, I missed those because I had a glitch in the matrix with my Squawk feed, so I missed that. Apologies. PCE came in lighter, as I mentioned. Real disposable income, spending was up. We've got a couple of Fed speakers. We've got today 9:30 and 3 o'clock. We've also got 9:45 S&P U.S. manufacturing PMI, and then the ISM manufacturing index at 10, and construction spend. And happy December! It is the first of the month, which means we will have all the automakers, all the auto producers reporting results. They don't set times; they just drop when they drop. That info will come out for the previous month. I believe a couple of the Chinese have already done so. So,
All right. So
like
yeah,
XPEV being one of them.
yeah. Let's take a look at XPEF. Yeah, a lot going on today. So is that's good. Yeah, see a little bit of move on XPEF here at the moment. So all right, guys, let's take a look at our gap up list. Well, how does that look this morning? So far, we have a couple of things in the green. Not, is this, hold on, make sure this is up to date. Yeah, not a whole lot. I would expect a lot more on here, but a couple of things in the green here this morning. Actually, XPEF, yeah, XPEF is here. Okay, so just want to make sure this is live. Sometimes this thing freezes up, but it looks good. So a couple of things in the green and then some more in the red. A lot of the Chinese tickers back in the red here, just flipping over. So we'll dive into those and some big numbers here being shown by PAFO, whatever this is, low flow at 5.8,
It's a
and
SPAC.
it's a SPAC.
I don't see
Ah,
anything fresh on it. I think this now SPACs have I'm not going to get into it, but the $10 is a very specific level for SPACs because essentially you can redeem if you buy into the SPAC before it de-SPACs and merges with another company, you can get out and for $10. If it drops below $10, you've kind of got a weird circumstance there. So this being down there says something. The fact that I don't see any easy to come by news on it.
mhm.
Um, we'll see. It's not my favorite. The pre-market activity blows
Yeah, yeah. No, these things
put
are
it technically.
confusing, difficult to trade. You got to be very careful because, like you said, it's a lot involved in the back end. And if you're not aware of something going on, you can get caught in an ugly situation, guys. So nothing good to see here. Let's head down to the next one. Okay, TA. This has been on our list in the past. It has made some noise. This morning they're
Hmm.
up 17%. Norm, what's the latest and greatest on this one?
Yep, had earnings last night. So IT stuff, cloud stuff. So they will software. They will be in play today for sure.
Yeah, OKTA guys. Again, not one of our usual type tickers, but today they look good, guys. 17% up, 377. I mean, that's a big gap. And if you look at the daily, you blew past some areas of resistance, that 59.90 being one of them, just blew right by that. So they're actually using that as support this morning. So if you see that here in the pre-market, has been an area, I'm sorry, last night after hours has been an area of support there. So let's change that color. There we go. All right. Let's put it on here. I'm not sure if it's going to stay up there. I think today's going to be an interesting day, especially how the market plays out after yesterday's madness. CVNA today. These guys are up 3%, 181,000 shares traded. This is Carvana. I mean, it's been tough to trade these guys. Any news, Norm, that's showing some positive signs here?
I don't really see anything that interesting this morning. It got a downgrade yesterday out of B of A Securities. This thing is not the best intraday trading stock. It just popped up on the list a moment ago.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything especially interesting in it. A lot of people predicting this one to go belly up.
Yeah.
Short interest is quite high, 44%. So.
Yeah, so careful on this. Pre-market action right now does not look great. Yesterday had a decent day, a nice pop there from was 690 to about 760. It's not doesn't sound like a lot, but for a stock that's battling hitting zero, that's good for them. Very positive. So not my cup of tea there. Let's head over to KR. KR this morning is down at 3%. This is Kroger and earnings or something. What they got going on today?
They had earnings. Okay. They're in play about 4 times a year, and that's when they have earnings. And it's usually less than 4 times a year. It's when they surprise on earnings one way or the other. Obviously, they surprised a little bit to the upside. We'll see how it trades.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes, guys. Again, not really a main one. We'll put it as a possible. And if then we really need some volume to come in here. They're a nicey stock. They're not going to get crazy volume at the pre-market, but the market open can hopefully show us something good there to take advantage of. Here's a firm or a firm, however you want to call this one. They are up 3.1. Not a whole lot of volume. Decent day yesterday. But again, can't give them credit. Everything had a great day yesterday, obviously. Norm, anything good on this for today?
No, I don't see anything really spectacular as of this morning that's fresh, at least.
All right, so we will skip on this one for now, guys. Let's head over to our next one here. No, we looked at Carvana already. So we got this thing being shuffled around a little bit as some of the stuff is moving up.
I do have something actually that one of my news buddies gave me. Fox Business interview, CEO said in an inflationary environment, people need more access to credit. Not sure if that's going to do anything, some CEO interview, but that's
more access to like credit for consumers.
Well, they need more access to credit that then they'll possibly default on. So I don't know if that's good or bad for them, but
I don't think that's a good thing for the consumer. It might be good for the economy short term, but not the consumer. We'll see. All right, Carvana we looked at already, and Mara is on here. This is Mara just disappeared, so doesn't want to talk to us. Let's look at Roblox, and Roblox here's up 1.7, 122,000 shares traded. Not a whole lot going on, guys. So this thing towards the bottom here is around 2%. The gap up list just keeps shuffling. So let's wait till it settles down a little bit and see what really stays on here. But right now, some of these are just barely making the gappers list, and some should not even be on there. Let's look at G3, or is GII Apparel? III Apparel. Well, so these guys are down 32%.
G3.
Ooh. That is nasty this morning.
Earnings this morning.
All right, so earning, what's the float on this? 41. So again, big drop here, guys. They don't look great though. Daily looks horrible as far as volume. Today they got 288,000. That's probably the most they had in the pre-market in a very long time, based on this news. And they're sitting right at area of support where they had before in October. I don't know what to think of it. It is in play today, guys. This is a big drop. When you get something like this, you are going to get some action. You know, it's just with earnings, are they going to get enough volume to move around here? Let's put it next to Kroger. These two are not great, but they can surprise us today with their news. So GII. There we go. Let's see what happens there. NTLA. This is down 8.2, 170,000. I seen this stock plenty of times. I don't like the way the intraday action is on this ticker. Norma, unless you have any news that might.
It's a biotech with a secondary offering. So
yeah, no. So no good there. CRM, once in a while they do something good. Man, look at the drop today. They basically gave back everything they did yesterday and then
Yeah, they
some.
had earnings after the close
Man,
last night. It was a bit wild. Tough can be tough to trade, but considering the rest of our list this morning might be something to keep on watch.
yeah, I agree. I like if you can like anything on this ticker, it'll be the daily, right? I mean, you're sitting here at the midpoint, and if you want to continue on the downside, you do got some good levels you can hit, which we hit recently in the past. So that's probably the only thing that looks good here. And the fact that you just shocked everybody with this move yesterday, and just you're down now, well below that. So could be interesting. CRM, let's put them on here. This is Salesforce, right? I believe. And DG, let's take a look at DG here. Dollar General, this one is brutal, man. They just don't trade very well. Even on earnings, I stay away from this thing. Down 6.5. I'm not saying it's earnings today. Is it, Norm? I'm
Yeah,
not sure. It is. Yeah,
it is.
it's just careful with this one, guys. I'm not gonna add it to my list. It's just for me, this is one of the probably the worst tickers and top 5 worst tickers to trade. Maybe I'm
That's
exaggerating.
strong, dude.
Maybe
I don't
I'm
know that I'd go that
exaggerating.
far. It's not great, but I don't know that I'd go that far.
You know
Let
what?
me give you
If you start,
GE.
yeah, if you start thinking about GE and Ford all time, yeah, that list could they probably be number 15 or 10. But they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. XPEV. So XPEV has numbers. No, you say earnings today, right? On XPEV.
No, they had earnings recently, but not today. They reported sales deliveries.
Okay, so sales numbers for XPEV, they were, man, they gave me such a tough time yesterday trying to break out. I took trades on it. One of them lost, another one break even, but it did cover the loss. And then after I get out, it takes off. I actually did not get a chance to post that on Twitter because I lost power yesterday for a couple of hours. Man, thankfully it came back before the kids had to go to bed. But yeah, XPEV on here, guys, 3.5, 4.8 at the moment. So yeah, looking good. Let's see where it goes here. Fry, FREY. This is not looking great, guys. Very light on the volume. Down 4.8. This is Fryer battery. Yeah,
Yeah, it's battery cells and stuff. They're Luxembourg company. I would just pass on it. I've not seen really anything great out of it.
Yeah, let's get rid of this one, guys. I don't like it. ECL this morning looks like just a couple of block trades, nothing happening there. Moving down to Lee. So we got a couple of Chinese stickers here. We got Lee, Baba, and PDD on there. And out of all of these, maybe Lee will Lee report numbers today as well, right, Norm?
They already have.
They already have? Okay.
And it's let me be real clear. It's not
Yeah.
today that numbers get reported. It's the beginning of the month. So it's usually, it depends on the company, but it spans over the first few days. There's no requirement time-wise that it has to be done today.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The Chinese usually are the first to report. You have to remember it's tomorrow there before it is today here. It's tomorrow there before it is here. So
Yes,
they're a little bit, however you want to say that. So you know, they generally have them prior to the U.S. manufacturers having them out, but sometimes it takes a couple of days for the U.S. stuff to trickle through.
Yeah.
Much larger numbers in general.
Gotcha. Here we have Ashley with a question. I'm really new to trading. What stocks do you reckon for reversal trading? So you don't just, it's weird. So what you have to do is you have to actually pick your list and then you see if you get a reverse opportunity, right? So you don't just
Later
say,
in the
hey,
day.
I'm going to reverse Lee today, or I'm going to reverse Kroger. So as we build our list, you will look for some opportunities on what you can.
You might pick out
possibly
some
find.
levels on something you see that's interesting that it might reverse from, but then later in the day, you need that confirmation that it's going to do so or whatever. So
Yeah. So that's Lee, guys, on here. You know what? I'll put it on a secondary for now. Let's see what takes place there. And then Baba, I definitely like Baba today. They're down 2.4. The volume is there for us on Baba. Big day yesterday, like many tickers. Let's see how that's going to play out today. Okay, perfect. So we are all set, guys. This list is going to continue to grow as our buddy here, the SPY, continues to make some moves. And you can see here we're slightly up now. Done that very aggressively after the numbers have been released here. So see what it does. Norm, anything you like on your end this morning?
I'm still looking, brother. I
All right.
today's not looking super great, and sometimes I find it tough after those big days like we had yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. Let's take a look at our chat. See what you guys liking. CRM co-CEO is leaving. So is that popping up the stock? No, it's dropping it. So he must have been good. XBEV.
Well, they had earnings. It's just a
Oh, that's right. They
coincidence.
had
They're
earnings.
moving
Okay.
on
Okay.
earnings, and a lot of times when you have major leadership leaving, it gets announced when they have earnings.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the earnings is the big catalyst there. Michael 5 for gap fill. Let's see. Oh, 5. Oh, no. For me, I don't. This stock is just uh the spread and everything on here, not great, man. Not great. Careful. But I like your idea of a possible gap fill, because to me, this is I'm with you there, man. 5 below, but who knows? You'd be surprised. Sometimes these things can run, but if I had to bet on it, yeah, I think this gonna fall apart. Um, FXI. FXI. FXI this morning, iShares. Oh, is it ETF? What ETF is
Yeah.
this? This is China large cap ETF.
No.
No. Next. Tesla. And just because, again, I'd rather trade something else, right? I'd rather trade something else. Let's look at Tesla here. Tesla this
We usually don't
morning.
talk about ETFs here
Yeah.
very much in the pre-market show, even though some of us trade them. But that one looks particularly terrible.
Yeah, doesn't look good. Doesn't look too good there. Careful on that. Tesla's in play. We know it's gonna be for some time here. So let's add it to our list. Today they have some really good volume, guys. 2 million shares so far, and you can see the pop they had yesterday, obviously with the whole entire market, and now continuing some of that as well. So up 1.7, trying to get to 200 there. So Tesla looking very good. No, sorry for what? No, is it saying sorry to me? No, you don't gotta say sorry to me. I don't know. How are you saying sorry? Tesla, Amazon. What we got going on here? Oh, Kingston, you brought up. No, it's okay, man. If you bring up something that we say no to, again, you always got to remember that that's also based on our trading, right? So keep that in mind. This is very important when we're building this list. Norm and I trade very similar, so we're looking for specific things. And overall, the community trades a kind of a very momentum type trading style, right? Guys, I remember when I was starting out, and I was doing the pre-market show, me and Norm, way back when, 3 years ago. And I would have a list that I like, and Andrew would come on and say, "Oh, this ticker is garbage." I'm like, "Wait, what? That's one of my favorite tickers today." I mean, just like it just made me question my entire existence at that point. But you get what I'm saying, right? So everybody's looking at a particular situation for what they like, the way they like to trade. Just keep that in mind as you're building your list. But take note of that. Um, so Gilead is always a good one when it comes to swing trading. Oh man, look what they have done in the last couple of weeks. These guys have just taken off here.
I mean, I own this company long term and in some retirement stuff.
Yeah,
It's a decent dividend play or whatever. That having been said, it usually trades pretty terribly intraday.
yeah. No, and we've
So
seen it when it's been in play.
it can be different. I mean, maybe it's changing, but just
Yeah.
historically, it's traded pretty poorly over.
Yeah, you have a better chance of looking at one of our usual suspects that's not even on this gappers list and get a better opportunity than you would on Gilead, right?
Yeah.
There was a time when they were really active. They had news all over the place, and at that time we were trading it a little bit, and even then it was not great, right? So yeah, just be careful on that one. But yeah, I agree with you. The run this thing has had, man, nice,
Yeah,
real
for
nice.
sure. It's been real nice.
Yeah, real good. Let's take a look at Snap here. Snap this morning. No, this is not in play. There's a couple of block trades that's creating this 2.5 million shares trade that you're seeing there. But if you look at this pre-market activity, we want nothing to do with this thing here. Um, let's head on down and see what else we have. Tesla's good. Okay, excellent. How about YouTube chat? What do you guys have? Chris, you're giving us snow, and I'll tell you this is not a great ticker for intraday trading. Let's see here. Here it is. What do we have going on today? Looks like earnings last night based on this drop here. And today they're down 2.2 with some actually not some bad volume this morning. Not bad. But these guys are brutal. Their spread,
Yeah, they're tough.
it's tough to trade. So I see a lot of activity this morning, so maybe today after the market
They had
open.
earnings, but they can trade like crazy. So just be aware and
Yeah,
be very careful if you decide to mess with it.
yeah. They remind me of Shopify when they were like 300, 400. The moves were wild. This is kind of very similar, very light on volume with very big moves, which can be tricky to trace. So careful if you're going to put this on your list. I won't have it on mine, but very careful there. Calvin,
I
we took
gotta
care of,
tell you, I'm a
yeah,
little surprised. If you look at the SPY and the Qs,
yeah.
we've given up essentially everything we gained after that PCE announcement.
Oh yeah, look at that. Look at I'm looking at the SPY right now, and here's the Q as well. And yeah, we're coming back down to that previous day close. That's gonna be interesting. That is gonna be
We're
interesting.
still a ways from previous day close, but
Yeah,
0.25% or so. But we've given up everything from that we got from when we first came on at
yeah, right on
8:30.
here. Yep, right back down to. So yeah, let's see what it does in the next couple of minutes. That is interesting. Um, maybe overreaction. Who knows? Let's see. All right, guys, we are set. We'll keep an eye on the spies and the cues. Let's look at AMD. Is AMD doing anything? AMD this morning. No, overall market stuff, light on volume at the moment. Apple, same thing, right? Just kind of doing the overall market thing here, really just following the overall SPY. What I like really Tesla today, they got some decent volume. Baba is going the other direction. That's good. XBEV has some news on it. So we got a couple that look okay. They're not the best tickers, but I think we got some good opportunity here. Um, RFG. All right, what else we got going on here? Okay, I think we're set, guys. Let's take a look at our community events and announcements. Let's look at Neo real quick. Let's see Neo's doing anything. Man, they got volume, but for some reason they got 2.9. I guess they look okay, but they don't look great though as far as here. And you got a big chunk of that sitting here. You got 600,000 in this one candle. Yeah, I'm not impressed with Neo's pre-market activity today. I think they'll be not in play, but they'll do something today just because the overall market is moving. But yeah, it's not impressed with the pre-market at all, really. Don't let that 2.9 fool you. This thing looks ugly here, especially in these areas where you're seeing a lot of sideways action. So all right, let's get our announcements, guys. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. It does help us out a ton, and we appreciate it very, very much. I'm going to go here to bearwithtraders.com/webinars, and we'll get you to what's coming up in the next
Yeah.
2 weeks.
All right. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, we have onboarding and technology with Carlos. That be sure to check that out, especially if you're a newer trader. Great place to start if you're digging into BBT. Tuesdays we have strategy. Next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, is Carlos talking about developing an educational plan, and then Thor the following week, 8 p.m. managing the trader, not the trade. Wednesdays, we have psychology. We had Randy Howe last night. Dr. Kenneth Reed will be next week talking about handling pressure. And then the following week is Creta, 5 p.m. Note the special time on December 14th because of her time zone. It's how to neutralize pressure while trading. A couple of great webinars on pressure, which is imperative to be able to deal with. All right. Thursday is mentorship, 11 a.m. with John and 8 p.m. with Thor today. Don't forget about tradingterminal.com, our web-based one-stop shop for all your trading data needs, from scanners to earning calendars, charting, the academy, don't forget about, and of course the simulator, where you can get to it directly from there, or stocktradingsimulator.com. And it's our free web-based replay simulator where you can hone your trading skills 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right. Black Friday sales. That's being taken down today. It has not been taken down yet, so you can still take advantage of that if you'd like to lock that in. And then the intro membership, if you're watching on YouTube and you'd like to try the room, you can do so with a no obligation 1 week trial. It bills you only one time. It does not recur. Use the promo code PreMarket24. That is PreMarket24. No hyphens, no spaces, and the number's 24. And that'll get it for $24. You're muted, Carlos.
Yes, I am. Yes, I
There
am.
you
Thank
go.
you, Norm. All right, thanks,
You
man.
got it. Take care, brother.
All right, I was saying, let's get to levels. Neo was great. Yes, and RB. Yeah, man, Neo. I'm telling you, it was it was it was brutal. It was brutal for me yesterday. Um, let's see here. Oh, yeah, I'll show you guys something if I can. I'll try to bring it up later. I'll show you guys my trade. I took a screenshot of it. I just couldn't post it. With the power outage, just got busy. But yeah, my trade on what was it, XPEF? Oh man, it was just madness. Um, but yeah, Neil was much better at that time, but XPEF would turn out to be really good. You saw Andrew's trading as well. If you saw his recap, you saw how great that turned out. Let's look at OKTA. So this one, again, up huge today, guys, 16.7. I'm hoping we can get some good trading out of this one. Right now, the spread is not great. 20 cents on a $62 stock is a little bit questionable. We know they're not the best trading stock here, but I do like this gap up that we have of 16%. I mean, that's a big chunk there. So I'm going to mark down the high of the pre-market over at 63.40. We'll slam a level there. I will keep this 59 because this 59.90 here on the daily has a lot of touches. And we can also just mark down the low of the pre-market at the moment, which is at 60.50. So a couple of cents above that. We'll mark that there. But this that's a little better. 4-cent spread, much, much better. Let's see if we can get some volume today on this one. Towards the bottom, if we were to drop here and close this gap in the not so positive side, we're looking at 57.13. Got a tons of get my pen here. Tons of touches here as well. Look at the daily across the board. Just a whole lot happening there. And then you have your next level is going to be, as we mentioned, this 59.90 and also this 60.51, which is your low of your pre-market there as well. Above the 63.42. Above the 63.42, we do have 65.66. So if you put a level there, that's a great one. Looks like we traded this in the past. Oh, when it had this gap down, we had some levels here. The 68.10. You don't need to worry about these levels. I don't think we'll get there today. If we do, we can look at more levels towards the top. But for the most part, surrounding the price action, 63.42, 65.66 are all you really need right now. So again, up 17%. That's a big pop on this one. We'll see how OKTA does at the market open. Next on our list is CRM, and again, this one can be a hit or miss. Not an easy trader. Just trades a little funky, a little bit like Intel type trading, the way Intel trades. So be mindful of that. But here on the daily, the price action right now, low of the pre-market is 148. And if you look at the daily, that has a lot of touches on there, guys. Like right where the price action is, you can see many days opening and closing right on there. So that's a big level for this ticker. This morning already, we've been trying to hold here. We tested a couple of times in the pre-market. So we're trying to hold there. Let's see if that's going to be strong enough. Maybe not to hold that. Let's see. That 148.22 level. And we can see here heading down towards the bottom, if we were to look further down, another area where I see a lot of touches is going to be, there's two down here. There's this one here at 143. It's got a couple, not a whole lot, right? Got a couple. And then you have the major stuff happening all the way down here. I'm going to mark down 139. You can mark these levels too down here if you like. But I think 139 is the one you want to have. And again, keep in mind, these levels are an area. So, it doesn't have to be exact, right? It doesn't have to be exact. It could be on a stock like this, a few cents above or below. And in some cases, in some stocks, it can actually be even 60, 40, 50 cents above or below, right? So be mindful of that, depending how much they move. And obviously, this ticker here can move because this drop we saw live right now, right, is 148 to 147, 47.76, right? So this is a mover, guys. Careful on the number of shares if you are going to be trading this live. All right, so there we go. That's CRM. Let's look at XBEV. XBEV right now, we are down 5.4 on this thing. Low of the pre-market, roughly 970. Where's that 970? Oh, it's right here. I'm still going to mark this up here. I mean, you got the 970 here on this crazy candle with the wick. But I like this area here where you're seeing a lot more support in the pre-market. So if you zoom in here, you can see there's a lot more happening there around 985. You could even put down as far as 980. But I like that area more. I think this going to be more significant. based on where the price action is if we are going to drop. High of the pre-market was created around the 807.50 or so. So we're going to mark that there. That's 1040, 1039. Throw a level there. And once you do that, guys, you're pretty set. Look at the bigger picture here on the daily. You got your highs and lows from yesterday, previous day close. So that's surrounding the price action there now. So I think you're pretty much set. Above this area here, the previous day close, if we're able to get there, and it's going to take a lot for them to be able to do that. We do have 1168. We'll slam a level there as well if we can get going. So let's see. Right now, tons of action, guys. Got 3.8 million shares traded. So this bad boy is in play. Let's see if this is going to trade well for us at the market open. Yesterday's market open, it was a little rough at the beginning, but then you had the nice breakout of 9, which turned out to be really nice. Here we have BABA. So BABA is gapping down 2.5. Low of the pre-market is 85. I love BABA on the sell-off. They sold off quite a bit already, so I don't know if we're going to get a continuation here or a pop. Again, down 2.5. I like the volume they have this morning, guys, 1.7. So definitely one of the ones that I will keep an eye on for some trend continuation, right? We need this thing to pick a direction and stick to it, and that's when BABA does very, very well. High of the pre-market is all the way up here over at 86.35. It's not 85.64, but again, as I mentioned earlier, when you have these touches there, they are critical. You want to have that down as well, especially when your pre-market high is so far out. You want to make sure you have that on check there. So that is BABA there, guys. And then bigger picture surrounding where the price is now, you have tons of stuff happening. Do not need to add anything more. Let's take a look now at Tesla. And I think Tesla's going to be, as we mentioned before, very active. Daily's trying to come back here. I mean, we're seeing a big move here in the pre-market so far. We were down at 192. We're up at 197. So it's moving, guys. It's moving nicely here. Can it hold this momentum that it has in the pre-market? This started going around 7. See the nice little breakout there. The news, we had the numbers released here, came out there. And now we have some kind of action happening here. Let's see if we can maintain that. I have the pre-market all the way at 198.40. So we're going to slam a level there, 198.40. And then let's look at the bigger picture here on the daily. Towards the bottom, we're just not going to add anything because you can see here we have highs and lows creating some really, really good support. I don't know where you would fit anything else here. I don't think you need to add any levels. If you want to get fancy, there is something here at 190, and it's a whole dollar as well. So if we were to drop, this is actually more reasonable and reachable than 185 will be if we were to drop below that previous day close. So that is probably the only thing I would do. There's a couple of days here, opening, closing right around there. So that's a great level to have if you want to have something in between the price action now and the highs of the last 2 trading days. Towards the top, because this thing seems a little strong today, daily is very nice, which allows us to find some really easy, clean levels like this one right on here, 208.40. So 208.40, if you notice, you got tons of support there, a lot of touches here, some days opening and closing right around that area. So 208.44 is a good one. Again, that's a stretch, guys. We're sitting at almost 198 as the high. For it to go up this much, we'll need some strength from the market to be able to make that happen. So we'll see what the SPY and the Qs have in for us today. Let's check what they're doing. Let's go over to the Qs. What we got going on here? Yeah, man, we're losing. We're losing what we just gained here when the announcement was made. Let's see the SPY. Yeah, same thing. So interesting. Let's keep an eye on that. All right, so that's our list, guys. Not a blockbuster list today, that's for sure. These tickers are not the greatest. Got to be careful with them. OKTA. CRM losing the 148.16 here, which try to hold for the pre-market. And we have XBEV, which coming right down here to the VWAP at the moment. Just from the highs of 1039 there. BABA not doing a whole lot, and then we have Tesla, which hasn't really dropped like some of the other tickers are doing, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. Maybe Tesla's looking to get back up to 200 here. All right, great. Let's take a look at some of the questions you guys have. It's 9:04, so we got time for some questions here on both sides, either in our chat or also in our YouTube channel. And let's take a look here. So we have Sander, XPEF likely to pull back. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on this one because they had a great run yesterday, man. They went from 850 to 11, and they traded very well. If you look at yesterday's action, where is it? Man, it was so strong yesterday. So I don't know if you're going to continue to pull back. I mean, you're pulling back now, right? Given the bigger picture, but we have to see. We have to see. I will not be surprised if this thing goes back up to 11. I think the market's going to have a lot to do with this. So we really just got to be we got to be able to play both ways, Sander. Got to be able to play both ways, you know. So yeah, so as you see, Andrew in our chat there, XPET might be active today for sure. Which direction? Who knows? Exactly, exactly. Got to play both ways. What we do like though is we love this volume. 4 million shares traded, down 6.1. Yeah, we like that. We like that. What else, guys? Over on YouTube, if you haven't done so already, how many likes we got? You guys keeping us good here? 140. I think we could do better than that, guys. Help us out. Let's get to 200. Really appreciate that. It does help the channel very much. If not, I wouldn't be asking, but we appreciate it. It does support us quite a bit. Jack, can anyone else get told that trading is just gambling by family members? Yes, don't tell family members what you're doing when it comes to trading. Don't tell them what you're doing. It's not helpful. uh, and don't share your P&L with your family neither. You know, don't do that, because what happens is, and we got time. What you end up doing is, as humans, when you do very well, we have a great day, you show them P&L. Oh, look what I'm doing. And I did this when I started too. We all make this mistake. Not all of us, but some of us. You show them the P&L, right, Norm? And then when you do bad, guess what? When you have a bad day, you're not running to show that P&L. So you know, it puts a lot of pressure for you to perform. So don't do that. Just focus on the process, and then let the rest just play itself
I've
out.
never a single day actually disclosed my P&L to my wife, whether it be up or down.
Nice, nice, very nice. Yeah. At the
I'll
beginning, I
say I had a
did.
good day or a bad
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
but I'm not getting. I don't get to get into numbers. I mean, I do the
And
same
my
thing with her. I don't, you know.
and my wife actually called me out when I was doing recap videos on YouTube, and she's like, "Why do you put your number out there?" And she said, she works in HR, and typically HR answer, "If you were working a 9 to 5, would you walk around with your salary on your chest?" I'm like,
Yeah, this is very
"Shit,
true.
I would not."
Well, it's
I
like, you
would
know,
not do
I
that.
get it. We're in
Yeah,
a business where the P&L is essentially your performance,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and so it makes some sense that it's asked. But you know, when somebody asks me a question about that, you know, what are you making here? When was the last time you asked your dentist how much you made?
What she makes a year. Yeah, yeah. And so when she told me that, I was like, man, why you gotta go there? But she made a good point. But I get it too. Like, you know, the business side of it is different. We leave that to Andrew. Let him take on that pressure. Let him do that. He's he's the head of the team here. Is it P&L actual KPI risk adjusted, not P&L? I'm not sure what you mean KPI. No, when you start out, you can't. When you start out, and we got time. But when you start out, you can't use your P&L as your performance indicator, because you're not going to make money at first, right? It's going to be very difficult to do that. You know, you just might be moving sideways. So if you use that as your KPI, key performance indicator, it's not positive, right? Instead, look at how you're progressing. You know, we got a lot of videos on this in our education center on how you should gauge your trading. And this is why we tell people trade very small, right? Start with risking $10, risking, $20 to make 40, try to make $25. It sounds very small, especially if you're coming from a 9 to 5, you know that you're doing well. You're like, wait, that's what I'm gonna do, make $24 a day. Yes, because if you could do that consistently, then you can increase size later down the line. Increasing size is not as difficult as it is becoming consistent, right? So work on that first, and then the rest will fall into place. All right, any questions? No, I bet you could tell whether you had a bad day or not, though. Well, there's some frustrating days, right? No, some days that you're just frustrated,
I
but
mean,
that's
like
like,
I
yeah,
tell her all the time if I have a good day or a bad day. I just don't get into the details.
right.
Jamie here, when I made that dentist comment, he goes, "Funny you say that. I told my dentist I was a day trader, and he asked how much I make."
Yeah, yeah,
Said he just wants to make sure you can pay his bill.
yeah. Exactly. It's funny, man. It's funny. And some people they want to join. Like, oh, I want you to show me. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. You gotta really the reason is because you really have to want to do this. You got to make the decision that, okay, I want to do this. I can't say, oh, come do this. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to want to do it and be able to survive the learning curve, right? It's not a thing I can go around and have my whole family start trading unless they really want to do it on their own and they made that decision. Um, how much do you reckon you need to open to make $24 a day? How much do you need? Not a
25, then you can lose $1 and
yeah, not a lot.
make.
Yeah,
I think we lost audio in the room, brother. Something's going
we
on
did.
funky.
Oh, something flickered. Yeah, something flickered. I just saw that. I turned on the
We
mic
came
again.
back. We're back on now.
Something flickered there, and yeah, looks like we're back. All right. What else, guys? We have a good list. Let's get back to some trading here. We kind of went off track a little bit. That's okay. We have great timing this morning. OKTA on here. We have CRM, XBEV, BABA, and Tesla. All to look at Tesla, man. Going back to that 198 high after pre-market. I think Tesla is trying to set up for a nice day here. They've been beat up so much that maybe is Elon buying back his shares at a lower price? Is that what he's doing? I mean, okay,
No,
but
he's
he can make a
busy.
couple
He's
of
busy
millions.
touring the Apple headquarters.
Wait, Apple invited him over after his comments?
Supposedly.
Oh, no, that was interesting. Interesting.
He sent a picture, and he thanking Tim Cook for his tour of the Apple grounds and their good conversation. And there's some misunderstanding about Twitter being removed from the App Store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He was complaining. He was putting Apple on the spot about their Apple Store charging 30% for any sales that developers make, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's not new. I mean, people have been arguing that for years.
So yeah, all right, guys. Any tickers that you guys like that we have not seen? I see Andrew has his list ready to rock and roll here, guys. He's looking at the Chinese sector moving again. Yeah, I agree. The Chinese sector is going to be active. He has Expect, Baba, Neo, and then usual suspects: AMD, Nvidia, Tesla, and the Q. So that's Andrew's list there. Who we have here? We have Peter. We have Thor. Let me bring this over. As I am doing this, guys, please hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. And I got Megan coming in as well with her list. So let's go ahead and disable video here so you guys don't get the mirror effect.
Got some weird price action pre-market in the indices this morning.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Guys, do not forget Black Friday deal is being taken down today. So take advantage of that if you haven't already. Is a great deal. Here we go, guys. Let's take a look at our moderators list this morning. So the team so far: no IPOs, no SPACs being reported by Peter today. His list: AMD, Apple, Tesla. Secondary list: CRM, Snow, and Amazon. I gave you guys Andrew's list already. Thor's list: CRM, Tesla, SPYs, Qs, and Pivot Alert bot as well. Megan will be looking at Tesla and Baba, and Andrew's adding CRM to his list. All right, excellent, guys. As we wrap up the show here, here's my list so far. OKTA, which again, I might move this off. It doesn't look great. It looks very crappy. Spread is horrible. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for this thing to be here. I think we'll find we have better stuff to look at. So I'm going to remove that there. We have CRM, which is definitely in play. Love the drop here. I mean, people are getting shocked this morning after a run like that yesterday and then back to 148. XBEV this morning, pulling back a little bit. This can go either way, as we mentioned in the chat. We'll see how that plays out. But the volume is there, guys. 4.1 million shares traded. I mean, that is in play. 276 Plucky's asking. I'm sorry, Sanders asking why not Neo. Let me see, why not Neo? Neo is good too. Neo is good too, actually. Yeah, you could look at Neo. I like XBEV a little bit better today. They had the better moves so far this morning, but you could watch either one. Either one works out. And then we have Baba on there, guys. Big drop for them. Great volume as well. And then Tesla, of course, showing some strength right now in the pre-market. Let's see if that can continue. Excellent, guys. We are set. If you over on YouTube, if you guys want to check us trading out live, go over to our website, bearboottrades.com. Pre-market 24. You get 7-day access to see Andrew and Brian trade live. And speaking of Brian, Here's Brian's list: CRM,
Plus the
Tesla.
other mods throughout the whole day.
Yes, throughout the whole day. Yeah, I agree. So entire day, CRM, Tesla, Baba, and the GIII there as well. Guys, thank you so much. Have a safe trading day. Tomorrow we are on at 8:30 with Norm and I. There will be no engineering the market, so keep that in mind on Fridays. We will see you then, guys. Take care.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.